Match days 3 and 4 for the UEFA Women's Nations League are upon us, coming in just a couple of days. But we had some interesting results through the first cycle last month during match days 1 and 2. So, guys, sit back and join us while we take some predictions here on this next cycle of games and see how the tables could look going into November. Guys, Matty G back here with you on Football with Flags. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's get to it. Here's a live look at what Group A1 looks like, and I'll be honest, guys, I did not give Belgium a lot of credit. If you guys saw the video that we took last month, I did not have Belgium going very far in this, especially early on. Thought that they would be at the bottom of the table pretty early, but they come out, have a huge win against Netherlands, secure a point against Scotland, and they almost had 3 in that game as well had Scotland not scored in extra time to take a draw away. But they're at the top of this table right now, performing very well. And again, this is what things look like heading into match days 3 and 4. So a lot still on the line with this very competitive table. We've got a pair of double headers for Group A1 in terms of we'll see England and Belgium face off twice, and Netherlands and Scotland will do the exact same. Let's start off with England and Belgium, though. Belgium, again, were outshot 21-6 against Netherlands. Again, take nothing away from their impressive performance. They only had 24% possession during that game. They defended incredibly well and took their opportunities when they could, and obviously come out with the 3 points in that game. But I do look to see England dominate possession in both of these games. I think they'll look to suffocate Belgium in their own half as much as they possibly can, push numbers forward, and certainly be dangerous, not only on free kicks, corners, but crosses as well. We saw England have a couple of crosses that they scored some beautiful header goals in that opening cycle last month. I think Belgium will be wise to look to counterattack when they can out wide, especially knowing that Scotland was able to have some success doing this against England. And obviously when you see players like Lucy Bronze and others for England getting forward, especially from that back line, that's going to open up space out on the flanks to look to counter if they can. So I think Belgium will do well to try and exploit that. But in the end, I still have England coming out with 2 wins through these 2 fixtures. I think this will be some very tight battles. I think both of these teams will learn a lot against one another, especially through that opening game. But I still feel like that this English side is just too good, and they'll be able to find a way to take 6 points out of these 2 games. Moving on to Netherlands and Scotland. We saw these 2 teams face off back in September last year. Claire Emsley scored a goal in a 2-1 loss during that game. Netherlands outshot Scotland that day 20-7. I think we'll see a similar stat line in these 2 fixtures. Certainly would like to see Lieke Martens, Jill Ward, Van de Donk, and others perform incredibly well. They did a pretty good job in those 2 opening fixtures that they had back last month. But again, I think that Scotland need to come out. They need to stay tight defensively, really look to counter as well on some good opportunities when they can, especially knowing how much open space Netherlands give. Netherlands usually, if they come out in that 3-4-1-2 formation, there's a lot of gaps, a lot of space for them to pass and move the ball, especially efficiently side to side and across the field, and also interchange. But if Netherlands give the ball away, sometimes they can be exposed when players are out of position. So I think Scotland will be do well to try and exploit that when they can. I would love to see Hansen and Emsley for the Scottish side be very important, especially starting those counterattacks. But in terms of our predictions, I think Netherlands take the 3 points in that opening fixture, and then I'm going to take Scotland getting a draw out of that second fixture and at least securing a point through these 2 games. So if those predictions go accordingly, we'll see England catapult to the top spot with 9 points in the group, Netherlands staying in second, but passing Belgium, who will drop down to third and stay with 4 points. And again, it's not to disrespect Belgium. I think that they've played incredibly well thus far. I think that they'll give England a tight game in both of these 90 minutes. It's just I don't think I've seen enough of them prior to coming into this competition to believe that they're going to sustain this type of form that they put up in those first couple of games. Those were some awesome results, and they could have 6 points right now had they not lost that game late to Scotland to a draw. But I just don't know if I can believe in them to take points away from an English side that is just very, very good. Now on to Group A2, where France took care of business with 2 clean sheets and securing 6 points through their opening 2 fixtures. Portugal come away with a huge win, 3-2 against Norway. They had 2 penalties in that game. Keep in mind, that game was back and forth, a really solid performance for them to come out with the 3 points and now in second place. Meanwhile, Norway struggle to take 3 points away from Austria. They had an early goal in the first half, but Austria with a goal in the second half to take a point away, has the 2 of them at the bottom of the table. Let's get to it for Group A2 and another doubleheader in this group. It'll be Norway and France, and Austria taking on Portugal. We'll start with Norway and France, though. I think Norway get a draw out of this opening game. You know, at times they struggle to be consistent, just put games together. We saw them struggle in those first two games in the World Cup. Then they come back, and I believe they score 6 goals in their final group stage game, still make it to the knockout stages. But at times they put a lot of good chances together. They create good opportunities moving forward, but then they struggle to put them on frame and be consistent. Ada Hegerberg hasn't been involved with the team since the World Cup. I'm not sure if Caroline Hansen will be in the team or not for these two games. Hopefully she is. She gives them a much better presence up top. She's got 45 goals, I believe, for her country. And if she is, I think that's a big reason why they're able to at least take a point from France at home in this opening fixture. But in the meantime, France secure all 3 points on match day 4. France at times too can struggle. They dominate games tremendously, but then they struggle to finish their chances, or they give poor balls away in the midfield, or some inconsistent play in the back. But still, France, I think, dominate match day 4 especially. They get all 3 points, take 4 points away from this cycle, and extend their lead at the top of this table. But then for Austria and Portugal, I'm not really sure the last time these two teams squared off. Austria are kind of in the same boat as Norway. They really struggle to put a lot of chances on frame. They can create some good opportunities, but in the end, if you can't put it on frame, then you're not going to give yourself an opportunity to score. I think they only had 4 shots against France, which is obviously tough, but they had 0 on goal and only had, I believe, 4 attempts on frame out of 14 or 15 against Norway in that fixture. So I think that's going to be tough for them. Although being at home for that opening game, I think is going to bode well for them. I do have Austria and Portugal tying on match day 3, but then I have Portugal coming back, securing all 3 points in match day 4. I really like this Portuguese side. We saw how talented they were during the World Cup, almost knocking the U.S. out. We'll see if Diana Silva can get on the score sheet at all. A really good attacking presence for them. Carol Costa, their center back, scored both of their penalties in that game against Norway. She's a huge presence. Again, this Portuguese team is on the rise. I think they're able to at least take 4 points out of this cycle as well. If the table unfolds for Group A2 as we expect, France, of course, still at the top of the table, Portugal in second once again, but then it's really become a 2-horse race with Norway and Austria struggling at the bottom with just 2 points each. Remember, though, only one team gets out of each group to advance to the semifinals, so if the table does unfold like this after these next couple of games, definitely have to keep an eye on that next fixture for Portugal and France. Group A3 has witnessed Denmark take a huge jump out of the gates with 7 goals in their first 2 games, including a shutout victory against the Germans. Meanwhile, Germany find their form a bit with a 4-0 win over Iceland. Iceland in their opening game against the run of play a bit, score 3 points against Wales, and unfortunately for Wales, it doesn't get much better as they lose 5-1 in their second fixture against Denmark. I'll be honest, guys, I don't think we'll see anything crazy happen in the cycle of games for Group A3. I think Germany take care of business against Wales and Iceland. Hopefully Alexandra Popp gets back on the score sheet for her side. Meanwhile, Denmark have the exact same fixtures, just flipped. Hopefully Vangsgaard gets back on the score sheet for her side. Also, she had both goals against Germany in their opening game. But again, I think this will boil down to a 2-horse race after this cycle of games. It will be interesting to see, though, if Germany can try and rally a bit and close that goal differential gap that they have behind Denmark. After those predictions, we could still see Denmark with a 3-point advantage over Germany. And again, like I just talked about with the goal differential, that could come into play. These two sides still have to face off against one another again. If Germany can win that second leg, goal differential could be a huge factor down the stretch. Finally, Group A4 with Spain in control. Despite all the noise off the field, everything going on with the Federation, these women still come out and put together some great performances. 3-2 over Sweden, 5-0 over Switzerland has them at the top of the table. Meanwhile, Sweden get outshot against Italy, who they beat 5-0 in the group stage of the World Cup, get outshot 17-5 in their opening game, but still come out with a 1-0 win. Meanwhile, Italy do get 3 points at Switzerland's expense, and that's how we have it after 2 games in Group A4. Group A4, I really don't see anything crazy happening in this cycle either. I think while Spain does have to go on the road against Italy and Switzerland, they take care of their business, take 6 points away from this run of games, and still have the top spot in the table. Meanwhile, for Sweden, I think they'll take care of business against Switzerland, get the win there. The one matchup that will be very intriguing is a rematch between Sweden and Italy. Sweden being home this time, I think Sweden play a lot better, control the tempo of this game, have a lot more chances on frame and in the final third. I think Italy will put up another really good performance. This could be a tight battle. Hopefully, it's not 5-0 the way it was back during the World Cup, but I still have Sweden coming out with another victory against Italy. So with those predictions, Spain still at the top of the table for Group A4. Meanwhile, Sweden have to get all 6 points to ensure that they're still within reach of Spain. And unfortunately for Italy and Switzerland, it's just become a two-horse race at this point. Well, guys, I hope you really enjoyed today's video. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And let us know down in the comments as well your own predictions, who you're rooting for through these games. We've got plenty more content coming your way on the international game moving forward. They want you to be a part of it. So, guys, hope you all have a blessed day. We'll see you soon. Peace.